Hey girls, I'm going to share a quick recipe with you. I am from Ohio, so I'm making something we call Buckeyes, which is basically like peanut butter fudge dipped in chocolate. How can that be bad, right? So I'm having a surprise party for Mike on Friday. So while he's at work today, I'm going to start prepping stuff, and by the end of the week I'll have these Buckeyes done. So I'll try and show you my steps along the way. Here's Alice. She's going to be hanging out here for a minute while we work in the kitchen. Say hi, girl. She's busy. So my recipe actually comes from the Cleveland Plain Dealer. It's like straight from the source. It's Cleveland paper. And this is one my family has been using forever. It does call for like baker's chocolate, but we just use chocolate chips. So really simple. You really only need 3 ingredients besides the chocolate. You need 6 tablespoons of butter, which is already in there, softened. You need a cup of peanut butter. Normally I make peanut butter or buy the natural kind, but I'm not sure if the recipe turns out with that. So I'm just using the regular kind of creamy, you know, conventional peanut butter. And then you just need powdered sugar. It'll be 2 cups of this. Okay, so our butter and peanut butter are fully combined. You want to make sure they're totally combined because you don't cook these in any way, and you don't really want to bite into like a huge chunk of butter. So now we're going to start adding our 2 cups of powdered sugar. I'll go about a half cup at a time, and you just want it to come together. If you're doing this by hand, it's going to be a pretty serious workout at the end. Alright, so you can see the consistency that it turns out. And at this point, you want to grease up your hands a little bit and roll these into balls. But I'm going to hide this in my fridge for later in the week when I'm going to actually do the balls. Okay, picking up where we left off. Alice is sleeping. I have just a few minutes, but I'm going to try to do this phase 2. I've gotten my peanut butter and powdered sugar mixture out of the fridge, and I let it sit for just a few minutes. And we're going to start rolling it in balls. I started one. This is just shy of 1 inch in diameter. If they're a little bit too sticky, you want to try to mix in a little bit more powdered sugar or powder up your hand. And you want to put the balls onto a piece of parchment or wax paper or whatever you have, something non-stick that is going to contain the chocolate too. While I'm forming the balls, I'm going to start the chocolate melting and just keep checking back and stirring it. So you want to use a double boiler. I don't have one. So what I have improvise is that I always boil enough water in here to make this sort of like, it's like Corningware ceramic dish, enough to float it. So you don't want, you know, this can't touch the bottom. So if you have a double boiler, you're golden. But this is what I've figured out. So the water will boil and melt the chocolate. That's what I always have to use. So that's what I'm going to do, and this is 2 cups of chocolate chips. Ideally, you'd actually use the like melting chocolate that you would get at a cake decorating store, like a candy supply store, but I don't have that. You can use chocolate chips. It's a little bit harder to work with. Some people add shortening, but I don't have any shortening, so I'm not going to do that. But this should still work. Alright guys, I'm kind of making a mess of things. It's really hot in my kitchen, so I've had to make some modifications. I rolled my balls in a powdered sugar a little bit more, and it just soaked right in, just to make them a little bit firmer, a little bit easier to work with. And I also stuck them in the refrigerator for a little bit, just to firm up. And yeah, it's really hot in here, so I'm having a hard time. But basically you just dip them in your chocolate, and let's see, like this is a pretty good specimen. Something like this. So you want them to be mostly covered in chocolate, but leave some of the peanut butter exposed. It doesn't matter how big your toothpick. Yeah, I just use a toothpick. You can also use a fork to dip the ball in the chocolate. And it doesn't matter what that looks like, because you're just going to smooth it out later. So eventually, when they are all dry, it's going to look something like that, but rounder and without a hole. And basically these are called Buckeyes because the Ohio State tree is the Buckeye, and they have nuts. It's a type of horse chestnut that look basically like this. So they taste a lot better than they look. A lot of people make these as holiday gifts. My mom and I made them for our wedding reception, my wedding reception, and they're pretty tasty. It's basically fudge. So if you like peanut butter and chocolate, I hope you like these. And trust me, yours will look a lot better than this if it's not 90 degrees in your kitchen. All right? I hope you like them. Here's the finished product. I'm going to freeze them. You can also refrigerate them until you need to serve them. This made 36.